Girl touched her chin. What is this thing off? And then looked in the mirror, was immediately frightened and screamed. The little fat girl next door heard the commotion and rushed over to check, but what she never expected was that the girl has turned into an old hen. Not long after that, the girl's parents came out to look for the girl. The fat girl pointed to the old hen, said, "This is not your daughter?" But the girl's parents did not believe it. They locked up the old hen and ate the eggs it laid every day. 50 years later, the fat girl told this experience to her nephew Gia and told him the reason why the girl became an old hen, it was because she had eaten the candy the witch had handed her. Grandmother warned Jack, "If you meet the witch, do not eat what she gives off." Jack listened half-heartedly. He thought that his grandmother was trying to scare him. The next day, Jack went to the supermarket. He wanted to buy something for his new mouse, Lisa, but then a woman in a strange dress stopped him.
Do you like sweet?
Jack is terrified. In a moment of crisis, his grandmother called out to him. When Jack looked back again, the woman had disappeared. When he got home, Jack told his grandmother what had just happened. Grandmother was terrified when she heard what had happened. She said that witches hate children. Once they found out, it would be hard to get rid of them. So Grandma packed her bags for the night. And took Jack to an 8-star hotel. Because the witch would only pick on the poor kid, even if the child is missing, it will not attract attention. After checking in, Jack went to a conference room alone. He wanted to train Lisa, the mouse. However, what he did not notice was that the danger was creeping up on him. These women look like celebrities on the surface, but in fact they are a group of evil witches. Jack saw this. He hid under the podium. The purpose of the witches' trip, it was to hold a secret meeting at the hotel. Seeing no one around, they finally showed their true faces. Women took off their gloves, all with only 3 fingers. Then they took off their shoes and revealed the feet without toes. The leader on the stage is more impressive. She actually has 2. Next, a horrible scene appeared, only to see the women remove their wigs, reveal their bare heads. It turns out that they are not human, but a group of evil witches. Their purpose is to destroy all the children, because in their eyes, children are the most annoying things in the world. Then the big witch took out a bottle of potion. She told each witch to open a candy store. If you put a drop on the candy the children eat, they would immediately turn into mice. Hearing this perfect plan, the meeting room erupted in applause. However, at that moment, the Great Witch suddenly noticed something unusual. She took her nose and sniffed vigorously. It was the smell of a child. She overturned the podium, but there was nothing underneath. At that moment, she slowly leaned towards the vent in front of her again. In the nick of time, a little fat boy named Tom broke in. When the big witch saw this, the big witch hastily took out a few pieces of chocolate. Who knows that Tom just took a bite? The next second, he ejected into the air, finally turned into a small mouse, stalking at the feet of the witches. This makes Jack hiding in the vent is also very anxious. However, at this time, he raised the mouse. Lisa actually spoke.
I'll catch him!
It turns out that Lisa was also turned into a mouse by the witches. Lisa hurriedly pulled back Tom's tail and successfully saved him back to the vent. But before a few people could breathe a sigh of relief, the big witch dragged Jack out. He was held down on the ground. The potion was forcibly injected. Not long after that, Jack also catapulted up into the air. He ended up as a mouse. Jack tried to escape, but the big witch caught his tail. At that moment, Lisa came forward again and bit the big witch hard. She successfully saved Jack, but the big witch is still in pursuit. She stretched her hands to catch them. 3 people frantically running for their lives, but unexpectedly the front is a dead end. The critical moment, Tom put a super fart, successfully helped the people out of danger. Then Jack told them that his grandmother knows everything about the witch. She should know how to do. So they were led by Jack through the kitchen. Then they took an elevator. They got to Grandma's room. They set up the mouse ladder. They rang the doorbell of the room. Finally, Jack and the others saw Grandma. Little mouse actually spoke.
Grandma, it's me! Grandma, it's me!
It turns out that just now, Jack was forcibly filled with potion by the witch. He was turned into a little mouse. In order to become human again, Jack found his grandmother, who used to be a pharmacist. Grandmother said that it is possible to get the potion. Maybe they can change back. And at this time, they happen to find the big witch lives in their home downstairs. So when the big witch was not paying attention, Jack took Grandma's socks to get downstairs, finally took out a bottle of potion. But just when they were ready to go back, the big witch suddenly grabbed the sock. Granny hurriedly lied that the wind blew the sock down. The big witch was half-hearted. It so happened that the manager of the hotel rang the doorbell. Then the witch gave up. They overheard the conversation between the witch and the manager and learned that the witches were having pea soup tonight. Jack had the idea to go to the kitchen. When no one was looking, he secretly poured the potion into the pea soup. In the evening, Grandma brings the 3 of them to the dining room to witness the witch's transformation. Not long after that, one of the witches is suddenly sent flying by a fart. When she landed on the ground, she turned into a rat with grinning teeth. Then, more and more witches turned into rats. The scene was in chaos. Grandma took the opportunity to sneak into the big witch's room. She intended to take away all the potions, but then the big witch came in quietly. It turns out she didn't drink the pea soup. Tom and Lisa pushed the mouse trap into the witch. They heard the witch scream. Jack rushed to take off in the mouse trap and poured the potion into the witch's mouth. Immediately afterwards, the witch was farted up into the sky. By the time she landed, has turned into a vicious rat. The transformed witch is still very arrogant, caught 3 people chasing after them, but I did not expect to be subdued by the grandmother. A glass bottle. Jack finds the key to the witch's safe. Granny opened it and saw that there are countless amounts of money inside. There was also a booklet with all the witch's addresses. The big witch is furious. She threatened to make several people pay. Then Grandma suddenly thought there was a cat locked up outside, so she let it in. When the witch saw it, she instantly lost her nerve. After that, Grandma took Jack the mouse and began to travel around the world, dedicated to destroy those evil witches.